After your narrow escape from the volcano, you mull over what you learned at the summit. The truth about the dragon and the medicine, what the Ivory Order and Sherwin are actually after, and Vince's dying warning about Dragon Tear destroying the world. You decide to return to the village of the sick to try and make sense of everything. Only a fool would drink some stranger's filthy brew, you bark. The suspicious doctor grumbles mightily, making a fine show of his discontent as he takes his leave. "I'm exhausted," says Riddis. "She certainly looks it." Bruno is silent and looks deep in thought. As you head into the village after your friends, another headache splits your skull. This place. Something about it is triggering a memory that feels like it's trying to claw its way out of your brain. "Let's rest up at the inn," suggests Melanie, taking in everyone's state. It appears he dropped the medicine bottles he was holding during the eruption's ensuing earthquake. He kneels down, bringing his face close to the ground, and laps up the muddy medicine. He crouches by the roadside, then lies completely still. His breathing slows to a stop, hands still clasping the medicine bottle. It appears she has no knowledge of the eruption and earthquake. The ground just doesn't want to stay still lately. Salford doesn't appear to be home right now. The woman stares blankly into the distance. At her feet lie dozens of empty medicine bottles. Here to stay the night? The innkeeper asks the moment you set foot in the inn. At dinner time, you and your friends gather around the table. For a while, it's quiet, But then Melanie speaks up. Now that the dragon's been defeated, she says, what are we going to do? In truth, the Ivory Order wanted to capture the dragon alive, but Sherwin killed him. You can't help feeling the Ivory Order is still hiding something about this island, the dragon and the medicine. We might want to look into this island a bit more, suggests Melanie. Bruno agrees with you. They call this place Mount Medica. Something tells me there are still secrets to uncover. Whether you go after the Ivory Order or investigate the island, first and foremost, you need information. The Overseer should be pretty knowledgeable about the island, reasons Melanie. You decide to pay a visit to the Overseer after a good night's rest. Selfor, the village headman come overseer, comes out to welcome you. After detailing what happened atop the volcano, you ask him to tell you everything he knows about this island. So, the dragon's tears are the medicine's main ingredient, he muses. You ask Selfor if the medicine is made on this island. After a moment, he begins speaking in a quiet voice. He tells you about the medicine factory here on the island that the Ivory Order oversees, and that this village was founded in order to provide a steady supply of human test subjects for their new medicine. Now that you know the truth about the island and the village, you turn to Selfor and pose further questions. Probing further, you ask, and the Ivory Order forced the dragon to make medicine at that factory? I'm almost positive they did, he replies. That explains why the Order wanted to capture him, says Bruno, understanding dawning on his face. But if that's the case, why did Sherwin flout the Order and kill the dragon? You're still missing the final piece of this puzzle. What do you mean, testing new medicine, you ask? Selfor explains that before the Ivory Order sends any of its medicines out to the greater world, they test them here first. With all the new medicines they're constantly prescribed, the villagers here suffer strange side effects. All except Selfor, who says he's exempt from the tests on account of being in charge of the village on the Order's behalf. Sometimes we get people who try to escape, he says, his gaze dropping. The Order always catches them. This is horrible, says Melanie, a harrowed look on her face. You know the abandoned house at the western edge of the village? Well, once upon a time, a family of 4 lived there. As Selfor speaks, you feel all the blood drain from your body. There's something I'd like to see for myself at that house, you say, your brow creased. At the uncharacteristically somber look on your face, Melanie, Riddis, and Bruno give silent nods. You stand before the dilapidated house. It looks like no one's lived here for a long, long time. You open the door and go inside, your gaze roving across the dusty space. Your eyes land on a progression of horizontal notches on the lower section of a support beam, markings to measure a child's growth. And carved into the beam beside the markings are your and Mar's names. Seeing your names unleashes a flood of memories you hadn't realized you'd kept locked away. The trauma of what happened, combined with the effects of the medicine, spurred the loss of your memories. But now you remember the horror in full detail. Sobbing, you gather Mar in your arms. Melanie, Riddis, and Bruno just stand there in silence, absorbing the truth of your origins. Melanie, who knows all too well the pain of losing your parents, turns to you with tears on her cheeks. We have a lot in common, you and I. That's how we've made it this far together, she says softly. Moved by her kindness, you give her a silent nod. But I've still got farther to go, you say, scrubbing your face dry. As painful as those memories are, something the Ivory Order disciples said gave you hope. If you can get your hands on an undiluted solution of dragon tear, you can restore Mar to her human form. And what was that about the place they called the mausoleum? That's probably a good enough place as any to start looking for dragon tear. Melanie doesn't miss the determination that blooms on your face. Whatever it is you need to do, she says, I'm with you.